Hindi ka
Welcome, sir.
okay. Yeah, live na tayo. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, IFNG. Good evening to my co-admins. Hello, Gladys and Marvin. How are you?
So, we're good po.
Good evening, good evening.
Okay. So yeah, we have another session with our one of our review center in the Philippines, World English. We would like to welcome Sir Lee J. Desu. Sir, how are you?
Hello.
It's been a long time.
Long day. Yeah, long day. This is my last webinar for today.
Oet. For
Thankfully.
Oet. So guys, if you're watching on Facebook, please tag your friends and share this video. So without further ado, let's Sir Lee J. Get started.
Okay, thank you very much, IFNG, for having me once more. So my goal tonight is to help people understand the OET writing test, just a bit better, and to help you improve your performance. Okay, so I'm gonna share my presentation. I'm gonna make this as quick as possible. I know it's scheduled for 2 hours, but hey, if we can do it in a shorter span of time, why not? What's important is the amount of learning that you get, right? So, so I'm sharing my presentation now. Maybe I can do this better for a moment. I think I can. Let's try this one. There you go. So, welcome to our free OED writing lecture. Okay, I am from World English. My name is Lee. And a short introduction about me. So that's my full name, Lee J. Desu. I'm obviously Filipino. I started teaching in 2005. So it's been 16 years. Okay, I started, I think I started my career, it was October. Okay, so sakto po, 16 years. One of the things you should know, to get your confidence up is I have a knowledge badge from Cambridge Box Hill Institute. So whatever I teach you and my expertise is actually certified by the owner of OET itself. Okay, not from then learn it from YouTube or from the website. Received actual training. Okay, and the knowledge badge is a proof of that book. Okay, I teach Ielts, of course, OET. I teach English subjects, ESL, civil service exam, preparation, and call center language training. So in short, my career has been about communication and test preparation. I have an overall band score of 9 in the IELTS test. I also have a civil service eligibility. I know that you nurses, you're all automatically eligible for government service because by virtue of your board exam, congratulations. Pero ako, I had to take a test to be eligible. Okay naman po, passed it on the first try. That was in 2010. Baba ng pass rate noon. I think the pass rate was only like not even 12%. So luckily, my brother and I passed. So thank God. I also have a Cambridge CELTA qualification. So it's a Cambridge certificate in English language teaching to adults. And I'm proud to say I'm not blonde. There you go. I'm not blonde tonight. Maybe next week I'll be. Okay, I don't have a British accent. Okay, but I still got a band 9 in my speaking. Again, ano lang effort. If somebody like me who doesn't have a nice voice and ganito lang yung pronunciation, I don't sound British or Australian or American, right? Pero posible, it's possible. It's just a matter of proper preparation. Okay. Now, the title of our session for today is Supercharge Your OET Writing. Okay. Oh, right. Let me just stop sharing that one. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about IELTS and OET because I think majority of the members of this group, they're planning to take IELTS. Pero now, the admins have decided to include some discussions about OET. Why? Because it's a pretty good alternative to the IELTS test. Let's have some comparisons first. No? Our audience tonight is probably very familiar with the format of the IELTS test. So you have 1 hour to complete two tasks. Task 1, they will give you a chart and you will write a report. Suggested time, 20 minutes. Task 2, they will give you an essay question. You write an essay and the suggested time is 40 minutes. How much should you write? 150 words minimum for task 1 and 250 words minimum for task 2, for a grand total of 400 words minimum in 60 minutes. Now, a lot of people actually have an easier time. I'm not saying that OET is easier, but this is the feedback. They have an easier time when it comes to OET writing. So I didn't say the whole test, all right? OET writing, because instead of two tasks, sa Ielts 2, di ba? For OET, it's only one task. And it's not an essay. It's not even a report. It's just a letter, usually to another professional. Okay, and that's supposed to make it easy because this is the language that you medical professionals have been using every day for the past few years of your lives. So it's easier to learn. Of course, you still need to exert effort and to activate those vocabulary items you haven't been using. But it's better because it's related to your profession. That's why it's occupational English. Okay, OET, occupational English test. Let me show you a sample of one of these tests. Let's see. Here you go. Something more basic. This is I think this is one of the most common case notes around, floating around in the internet. Okay. So I'm gonna give you, let's have a run through, okay? Let's have a read through of it. So, and let me turn off my cam so you can focus on the screen. There you go. So let me read it for you. It says occupational English test, writing subtest, nursing. Time allowed, 5 minutes, writing time 40 minutes. What does that mean? It means that for the first 5 minutes of the test, they will give you this sheet of paper, what I'm showing you right now, and you will just read it. That's it. You're not allowed to write your letter. You're not allowed to make markings on the paper. You're not even allowed to hold your pencil or your ball pen, whichever you're using. Okay. All that you're allowed to do is to read these case notes. And you know what? That's a big blessing. Okay, that's something really special. Why? A lot of people fail. Okay, their writing test and in various tests, not only for OET and IELTS, but writing in general, because they write too soon. Masyado maaga. Okay. And I think that OET designed this intentionally to force people to read. So, to make sure that you really understand what you're looking for. And this 5 minutes, ang laking difference yan. That makes a big difference in your score, in your output. Okay? So for 5 minutes, just read the case notes, absolutely no writing. Anyway, don't worry because you have more than enough time afterwards. Bakit? You have 40 minutes to write. That's a lot of time. Kasi nga ba siya ng writing task 2 ng IELTS. So 5 minutes to read, 40 minutes to actually write for a grand total of 45 minutes. Okay, and then it says here, read the case notes below and complete the writing task which follows. Notes. Maggie Goldstein, or if you want Goldstein, depending on where you are. Maggie Goldstein is a 60-year-old female Alzheimer's disease sufferer, currently admitted to North Caulfield Private Hospital for a dislocated elbow after a fall at her aged care home. And then we have some notes here. That's why they're called case notes. So it's a medical form, something you use in the hospital. Okay. Name, Mrs. Margaret Maggie Goldstein, age 61 years old. Ooh, they don't match. Okay. So it does happen, no? Nangyayari talaga sa test yan. Sometimes you will see mistakes on the case notes and they do them on purpose. Sinasadya nila. Sometimes you will see minor misspellings or they will use non-standard abbreviations or acronyms, and that's all part of the test because they're trying to see if you can adjust. Remember, in real life, the case notes you will encounter in your hospitals in the UK, in Australia, they're also not perfect. There will be some mistakes. So don't panic. But don't be surprised. Don't panic, don't be surprised. Just learn how to adapt to them. So what do we do in this situation? Sabi nung una, 60. Sabi nung pangalawa, 61. I would defer to the case notes. The official note says 61 years, so I'm gonna follow that one. Okay, because the line here, okay, is for the test taker naman. This one is for the hospital, so I'd follow the official one. Okay, so 61 years. Marital status, married. Family, husband, Solomon Sol Goldstein, age 65. They have no kids. She was admitted on the 8th of November 2016, discharged 12th of November 2016. What was her admission diagnosis? A dislocated elbow, right arm. She has early dementia, which is progressing rapidly. Social background. She is under full-time care at Eventide Residential Aged Care, and then the address was given. The husband lives nearby in Elwood, and she was a former business owner and manager of Computers R Us. Her previous career and hobbies, computer programming, and she played championship golf. Oh, okay. Medical history. She's obese. Okay, this is her height, this is her weight. Okay. What is HTN? Does anybody know what HTN means? You will encounter a lot of these abbreviations in the test. So it's an advantage if you know them. So if you're familiar with it, can you help me out? Because I'm not a nurse, not a doctor. I'm just a language, teacher. Boy, yeah. You can send your messages in public, so that we can, participate more and yeah, be more active as a group. So, sir, can you send that as to everyone in the meeting? What does HTN mean? We have a may kasama tayo dito who's very knowledgeable. Okay, quarter 1, week 5. HTN. Okay, it's hypertension. Thank you very much. Okay, oo nga naman, because she's obese. Okay, her Alzheimer's was detected, about 2 years ago, 2014. Okay. Okay lang yan, sir. Gumagawa ng PowerPoint. Wrong send. Okay lang. No problem. Okay nga yan eh. At least may kausap ako. Anyway, let's continue. No known Alzheimer's sufferers in close family. What's her current condition now? She's ready for discharge. Yes, back into full-time care. The right elbow is protected by a cuff with a sling. And it's healing, but it's healing slowly. Good news, the skin is intact, so no open wounds, no skin breaks. Okay. She uses a wheelchair. She can transfer with some assist. Okay. And what does transfer mean? Transfer, from the bed to the wheelchair, from the wheelchair to the toilet seat, from the toilet seat to the wheelchair, and transfer. Okay. Not really mobilizing. Mobilizing is different from transfers. Okay. She is continent of bowel, but incontinent of bladder. Okay. And then 2 days ago, okay, 10/11/2016. Now wait, this is not 2 days ago because our current date is November 12th. Tama pa rin ako. I'm still right. Okay. 2 days ago, she was reluctant to wear disposable briefs, just like a lot of older people, of course, because it has an emotional meaning. Alam naman natin yan, no? I think most of us have encountered this in our profession, in our work in the hospital, and also in our personal lives. If you were lucky enough to be with your grandparents. Okay. She requires assistance with showers and incontinent care. Her medications, oxycodone, okay, 5 milligrams, 3 per day to be continued as needed. What is this for? Is this for pain relief? Because I'm not familiar with medicines. Pain reliever, right, sir? Okay, so one of our guests, okay, says thank you. It's for pain relief. And then how about Atacan and Remeron? Well, okay, Atacan muna. What are these for? Anyone who's familiar? hypertension meds, and then Remeron. So do you see why it's better to join the Zoom room rather than watch on YouTube? Because you'll be able to participate more if your presenter is the type who likes, who likes doing activities. Yeah, like me, I love audience participation and activities. So antidepressant daw yung Remeron. Oh, thank you for the information. Sir, paano yan? They're not medicines that we use here. They're not drugs that we use here in the Philippines. Oo nga naman, because these tests were created in what? Saan ba yung Cambridge Box Hill? It's in Melbourne. Okay? So, Australian. Okay, nasa Australia. So, they use like Australian or British terminologies. Okay? They don't even say biogesic. Don't expect biogesic sa, sa test ninyo. Ano kasi yung ginagamit nila? Tylenol, no, it's not Tylenol. What's that very common painkiller, Sir Harold? Lagi nating nababasa. Tylenol sa US, ibuprofen. Guys, ibuprofen, yan. May nakikita ko laging it's a form of paracetamol. Okay, nakalimutan ko. So anyway, I'm gonna research, okay, and tell you later. Maalala ko rin yan. It usually happens that way to me. So, going back. No, Sir Robbie, it's a brand name. Lagi natin nakikita sa mga case notes. It's a brand of paracetamol. It's a mystery. Yan, malalaman nyo mamaya. I will show you. So guys, going back. What if during the test, Eknil, ano yan? What if during the test you encounter something that never heard? Okay, good news. You don't really need to explain them. Okay, they're not testing you on your medical knowledge. Remember, this is an English test. Okay, so kasi it's so unfair to ask you to know everything about it. Why? Because it's not an NHS exam. Okay? Hindi siya yung CBT, hindi yung computer-based test. Hindi, it's just an English test. So, if you don't know what it means, don't worry. You can still communicate your message. You can still write a very, very nice letter. Just mention them as is. Okay? Now, the management in progress. Ma'am Goldstein is medically stable, okay, and the discharge plan, the spouse, house, another word for partner, so it can be male or female, husband or wife, okay. The spouse will collect the patient when discharged to transport back to Eventide. Please monitor the healing of the elbow. Please monitor incontinence, and there's a follow-up with a physiotherapist. When? On the 28th of the month at 2 p.m. at Eventide. And then here's the writing task. Okay. You are a charge nurse at the hospital where Mrs. Goldstein was admitted 3 days ago for treatment of a dislocated elbow, the right one. Using the information in the case notes, write a discharge letter to the supervisor at Eventide Residential Aged Care, 333 Glen Era Road, Ripon Lee, Victoria 3185 for discharge back into permanent full-time care. In your answer, expand the relevant notes into complete sentences. Do not use note form and use the letter format. The body of the letter should be approximately 180 to 200 words. So look at that. Sa Ielts, okay, task 1, 20 minutes, 150 words. Okay, so yun naman task 2 ng Ielts. It's 40 minutes, 250 words. Pero, okay, comparing it to OET, OET is 45 minutes and the minimum is just 180. And in fact, something important that you should know, there's no deduction for not reaching the minimum. Okay, because the minimum in this case is just a suggestion. Suggestion lang yan, 180 to 200. Doesn't mean you have to follow it. Unlike in other tests that are more strict when it comes to the word count. Okay, Even if you just write 165 or 170, as long as the English is good and you communicated all the critical elements, critical information, you can still get a perfect score. Pwede. All right? So 180 to 200, 170 is okay. Sir, can I exceed 200? Yeah, of course. You can write 210, 220, no problem. Theoretically, you can write 300 if you want. However, does that make sense to you? Do you think that's a good idea? I don't think so. Why? Remember, the more you write, the more mistakes you will probably make. Ganun talaga. Okay. Secondly, one of the things that they're looking at when grading your paper is if you properly selected, the important information and you remove the extraneous info. Okay. It's not a good idea in OET, okay, for OET writing to write everything that you see here. Kasi, oh man, this is a lot of information. Actually, this one is not so bad, but take a look at another one of these case notes I prepared. Oh, look. Boom, look at that. Okay. Are you intimidated yet? Don't be. It's easier than you think. Because, let me go back. If you write everything, number one, first of all, you might not finish. And you have to finish it. Okay? Remember, finished is better than perfect. Okay? Finished is better than perfect. So, don't worry about writing down everything because you're just supposed to summarize and you can make adjustments and remove a lot of information based on the situation that they will give you. And I will clarify this for you tonight. Okay, I will give you an idea of how much to remove depending on the kind of letter. Okay, good deal? Yes? All right. Moving on. So there's our case notes. Okay, this is a very common one. You can you can find it in a lot of places. That's why I decided to use it as an example. All right. Before I proceed, just a reminder to our participants. Okay, please ask anytime. If there's something that that you missed, no problem. You can ask me. If there's something that you think wasn't well explained or it wasn't clear, please go ahead and ask. I don't mind while it's free. Habang libre po, okay? If you want a one-on-one consultation, it's not gonna be free anymore. Pero let's take advantage of this, okay? By the way, thank you for the admins of IFNG for bringing this, these wonderful series of seminars to your audiences and members. Okay. So magtanong na kayo habang libre. Yeah. So next, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, here you go. Oops. So some advice. Okay, so what are the best practices? What are the things that you can follow to make sure that you don't repeat taking the OED if you need to take it? Okay, kasi I think it's double the price of Ielts. Okay, and it's around like 22 or 23,000. Okay, however, as you can see, some parts of it might be easier for medical professionals. So what's the best practice para hindi po kayo uulit? Number one, I think most important, you are seeing my next slide. Okay, let's share that again. How about now? Is this okay? So Robbie, is this better? Okay, good. So what are the best practices? There you go. Number one, get personal feedback because watching stuff on YouTube is not enough. I think this is a common, a common illness. I'd call it an illness today. A lot of us watch something on YouTube once and we think we're already experts and we think we fully understand it. It happens to everyone, not, it happens to the best of people too. Okay, because that's how the brain works. No, the brain, your brain wants you to be confident in yourself. So sometimes napanood mo lang, you think you're already an expert. You know what? If you really want to test, if you understood these lessons that you read in a book or watched in a video, then make sure that someone will give you feedback. Have your papers checked. Okay, ulitin ko because I cannot overstress this one. Okay, just reading something or watching something is not enough. You have to do it. Sabi nga ng Nike, just do it. So you think you understood the lesson. You think you know, these are the common mistakes. Now I know how to avoid them. Really? Well, I've taught thousands of people already over 16 years. And it happens a lot that people say, yes, sir, we understand. And then when they get to the writing test, boom, they forget like more than half of it. Okay? You want proof? Yeah, let's base everything on proof. Let's be scientific. Let's not base it on, our personal biases and our emotions. Proof. Okay? So get feedback. Have someone good, someone who knows what they're doing. Check your paper. Ganun lang po yan. Okay? So I think that's my best. If there's only one tip I could give you for tonight, that's it. Okay, get personal feedback because just watching is not enough. Next, I know that a lot of speakers, a lot of teachers and tutors and websites, they say the key to success is to practice, 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 practice. Okay, I used to say that also when I was a new teacher, but I realized that saying that to students doesn't work. Why? Because students still fail. Okay, or they fail before they realize how to do it properly. So what I want to do tonight is to teach you how to practice properly. How do you do it? Number one, okay, proper practice has to be scheduled repetition. Anong ibig sabihin? You don't practice when you're available. Magpa-practice ako when I have time because I'm too tired from my work. Okay. Yeah, most people are like that. Oh, I will practice when I feel like it. You know what will happen? Oh, okay, sir. I'll take note of that. Okay, so if you proceed like that, that you will practice when you feel like it, you will practice when I'm free. I will practice when the time allows for it. Then what will happen? You will never practice, or you will have less than half of your targeted practice sessions. Okay, because you cannot just trust your brain or your memory. Okay, kasi tao, we have so many limitations. Okay, kasama dyan yung willpower, limited din. Pero if you really want something to happen, you put it on a calendar, you choose the day, you choose the time slot, and you choose how long you will dedicate to it. Okay, and it has to be scheduled, it has to be regular. Gawin nyo writing practice, OET writing practice. TTH, pwede na. Okay, TTH, 1 hour each. Or you can schedule it MWF, 45 minutes each. It's up to you, how much time you want to spare, what time you want to practice. It can be very early in the morning before everyone is awake, or very late at night when everyone's already gone to bed, or after lunch when everyone is out of the house, or during your break at the hospital. Okay, just make sure that you make time for it and you schedule it. Guys, Google Calendar. It's free, it's effective, it's connected to your email. Okay, one of the best. Google Calendar. Try it kung hindi nyo pa ginagamit for your test preparation or any other calendar. Okay, but it's just the one that I use. Okay, so that's the first one. Next, how to practice properly. Remember that time pressure is essential. You're not just trying to prove your English, you're also proving your time management skills, your management of your test taking skills. When you practice, make sure that a lot of it is under time pressure. Maybe yung the initial practice, give yourself as much time as you like. But as the test gets nearer, you should be more and more strict with yourself. Okay, for instance, I've seen a lot of very nice papers, very nice outputs, and I really get surprised. I tell my students, wow, this is a big improvement from the first one. That's amazing, very good. And then I remember to ask them at the end, sir, how much time did you how much time did you use for this one, sir? Ma'am, did you follow the 45-minute the official 45-minute timing, 5 minutes to read and then 40 minutes to write? And then they say, I know, sir, it took me 1 hour, sir. Or sir, it took me 90 minutes or more, maybe 2 hours. Cool. Then the grade that the teacher will give you is not accurate. Why? Because you didn't follow actual testing conditions. When you prepare, you have to follow what's going to happen for, in that event that you're preparing for. Just like in sport, in basketball, you want to practice your three-point shot, kailangan tama yung distance. Hindi pwedeng 2 steps nearer, hindi, practice lang naman. You get it? So time pressure is essential. But sir, I cannot practice when I see a clock ticking, when I hear the clock winding down, or when somebody says 10 minutes remaining or 15 minutes more. I panic when I hear that. Well, train yourself not to panic because it's going to happen during the test. They will announce the time. You might as well get used to it. Okay? That's very important for me. So when you're practicing, be aware of the time. If you're doing sa listening, di naman problema. But if you're doing a reading test, okay, make sure that you're very strict with the timing, lalo na sa reading. Okay? And then for writing, ganun. Then even with speaking, remember, during the actual test, the OET interview or the OET role play, the interviewer or the interlocutor will try to finish it as close to 5 minutes as they can. Okay, they will not finish at 4.5. They will not finish at 5.5 minutes. They will finish each role play as much as possible. 5 minutes yan. Well, give or take a few seconds. Right? So when you practice po, get used to it. Get your phone, download a nice timer, with the big numbers, and time yourself. Orasan nyo yung sarili nyo. Because if you don't, you're not practicing properly. Next, I'm gonna repeat this one. You want to do well, you get good feedback. Okay? If you write an essay, if you write your OET letter, or sige, for that fact, in the same vein, no, your IELTS essay, your IELTS report, whatever you're writing, okay? If you just write it, if you watch a video and then you just write it, and you think it's good, then you might be overestimating yourself. Okay? You're not the best person to judge the quality of your work. Remember that. Okay. In the same manner, I'm not the best person to judge the quality of my work. Bakit? We are blind to our own mistakes. That's a fact. Okay. If you want to really benefit from these activities that you're doing, okay, make sure that someone good, okay, someone who knows what they're doing, and someone who's impartial, okay, will grade your paper. Okay, huwag niyo papagrade sa sa boyfriend or girlfriend niyo because they're gonna be biased. They're just gonna say good things. Why? If they say bad things about your paper, yeah, you're gonna get angry at them. Okay, so wag na. Someone impartial, someone na hindi niyo aawayin siguro. Okay? Next. Oh, here we go. We're gonna get more technical now. You should know the 3 types of OET letters, right? Bakit? So that you can limit, the scope of what you need to study. Secondly, you can program specific approaches to each one. And I think some of the audience members already know what are the 3 most common types of OET letters. You've probably attended webinars with the occupational English test on YouTube or watch some video. So participation time. Does anybody have an idea what are these 3? Okay, please type it in the chat box or in the comment section if you're on YouTube. Curious lang ako, how many viewers do we have right now on YT? Because I can't check. Oh, that's a good number. Okay. Let's wait for their messages to come in. So what are these three? Ang galing. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So someone gave me a really accurate answer. So there are three, no? A transfer letter from FB, thank you very much. A referral letter and a discharge letter. Yan. So memorize nyo na. Transfer. Mas maganda siguro. Transfer, discharge, referral. Yan. Transfer, discharge, referral. TDR. Yan. Transfer, discharge, referral. Okay. Why is it important to know them? Kasi pwede na kayong mag-craft ng techniques. Let's start with, ano ba magandang simula? Okay, I'm gonna discuss each one. So I think usually the shortest one, the shortest type of letter would be the discharge letter. Okay, usually discharge letters, 180, 190 at most. Why did I say that these are the shortest? Because a discharge letter means you're just releasing the patient, okay, from your care, usually from your hospital. And you're returning them, kadalasan, when it's a discharge letter, it's also a senior citizen. Oy, DTR, daily time record. Ano? Discharge, transfer, referral, DTR. Thank you, sir. Nice suggestion. So, unahin natin yung DTR, discharge. Okay? Usually, it's also a senior citizen. I've seen a lot, and most of them, you're just returning the patient to their aged care facility, nursing home, or dito sa Philippines, home for the aged, tawag natin. Okay? Why is it the shortest? Well, because basically they know the patient better than you do. For these situations at discharge, you're usually writing to the head of the nursing home, to the manager or to the supervisor. So it's not technically a nurse or a doctor. It might be a layperson, non-medical professional. Okay, but they do know more about the person than you, because the patient would have been staying with them for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Okay, that's why it's short. You can remove a lot of information from the case notes. So it's usually the shortest. Okay, the next one, DTR. Second one is T, okay, which is the transfer letter. A transfer letter is a bit longer compared to the discharge letter. Discharge letter, why? Transfer means that the patient is not yet well. Hindi pa kompleto yung medical procedures niya. Okay, for some reasons. Okay, maybe you're just tama ba, a primary healthcare center, primary level hospital, and you don't have the expertise, or you might not have the equipment or the facilities to treat their ailment, their problem. So kailangan mong ilipat. I think this happened when I was younger. This happened a lot. They bring someone to a local hospital like Rosario Medical, and then hindi kaya, dadalhin sa UST. May mga ganun or dadalhin sa from a small clinic, dadalhin sa JBL. Yan. Baka magkamali ako, I'm Kapampangan, I put a lot of H. Okay, maybe from a level 1 to a level 3 hospital. Ganun. Okay. My grandmother worked in JBL for over 30 years. Okay? Doon din ako, yeah. Ma'am Chong, kung nanonood ka, hello sa inyo. We're friends. Okay, kaibigan namin si Ma'am Chong, retired chief nurse of my favorite hospital. Okay? Boss ko niyan, anak niyan. Okay, batchmate ng kapatid ko. Tawag lang namin sa kanya, Chong. Chong, kumusta ka na, bro? So going back. So transfer, hindi pa tapos. So you need to provide a lot of, more information. Usually the initial treatments that you've given the patient. Okay, that's a transfer letter. Here's an example. You might be the charge nurse in an aged care facility. Okay, and then your patient has a heart attack or a suspected heart attack. Okay, so the equipment and the personnel might not be enough in the nursing facility. So you call for an ambulance, you send them to, to the emergency room of a hospital. And then you tell them, okay, the signs and the symptoms and if there were any initial treatments. Ayan. Kaya mas mahaba siya kapag transfer. Okay? And the last one, which is also longer than a discharge letter. So discharge short, transfer, referral, a bit longer. Okay? Um, is also quite long. Bakit? Pag sinabing referral, it means that the chief complaint or the primary complaint was already addressed, was already treated. Okay, but they might need long-term or follow-up care. So what situations are these? Usually you're gonna be writing to some sort of therapist. So maybe a physical therapist or an OT, occupational therapist. Okay, guys, you should know the difference between an OT and a PT. Does anyone know the difference? Occupational therapist and the physical therapist. Dapat alam niyo yan. Any guesses? Okay, very good. I have one answer here via PM. It says the difference between an OT and PT is the first letter. Okay, that's one answer. Another answer, the difference, sir, is the spelling. Okay, thank you. I think Pinoy na Pinoy. Okay. Oh, here's a question. I think from YouTube. Okay, from Zaisha Netshay. Okay. Will the examiner leave the task card with you? They call them case notes. Ma'am Zaisha, case notes. Okay, task card, that's for speaking. Okay, for your reference, or do you have to memorize all the details to do the task? Oh, okay. Very, very good question. I love the question. Okay, what's nice about the OET is they will leave everything with you. Okay, for the speaking test, okay, they will leave you the task card. Okay, let me show you a sample task card. Ito na. Okay, here's a sample OET task card, speaking task card. Okay, here's quite common. Here you go. So this will be like what size would it be? Like half a bond paper, okay, half an A4, okay, and they will leave this with you, and you will yeah, you're allowed to make notes here. You can write, you can draw arrows. In fact, what I do with the bullet points at the bottom, I number them instead of relying on bullet points. I like numbers because they're easier to follow. Okay, it can help you avoid getting lost in your answer, and they will leave this with you. You can take a look at it during the role play. And for writing, our case notes, that's the name, case notes. This one, the one I've gone through earlier, of course, they will leave this with you. Guys, it's unfair to ask you to memorize this. How can you memorize that? This is a language test, not a memorization test. And remember, when you go to your workplace, in the hospital, you will have access to the notes. Even doctors are not required to memorize the case notes of their the notes of their patients, because you're dealing with too much stuff already. Idadagdag pa yun. You're not memory champs anyway. Okay, so yes, Zaisha, don't worry, you will have access to it. Okay. Ooh. All right. Thank you for the nice question. Keep those questions coming. Yes. So going back. Mhm. No need to memorize. I think that's good news for all of us. Okay. Going back, I was talking about the referral letter. So you're usually writing to an OT, to a PT, or to the local council, and you might be suggesting some home visits. Okay. Or you might be asking for an assessment if they could be transferred to a community center or maybe an aged care facility. Okay. Or you might be requesting for, some assistance at home, maybe visits from a helper 3 times or 4 times a week. Ganun po. Okay, so they need something beyond the initial treatment. For instance, maybe your patient what uh, had a fracture, yeah, fractured leg or fractured arm, and then you were able to treat him. But it takes time, diba, for that to heal. So for the meantime, your patient can't use his leg properly or can't use his arm properly. So we will need some help at home because I don't know, maybe they have 3 children. Okay, very common example. So that's a referral letter. For the people who just entered, let me just summarize that one. 3 types of letters: DTR, discharge, transfer, referral. Discharge, usually the shortest, and transfer, referral, these are a bit longer. Why are they a bit longer? Because, of course, you need to provide more information for the transfer and the referral letter. Okay. Here's another question from Kate. What if in the task it doesn't indicate which letter it is, and it just says write a letter to the nursing director of an aged care home for further needs? Oh, that's easy. Okay, for further needs, the director. This is probably what, a transfer. Oh wait, no. This is usually a referral letter. Okay, unless it's indicated that the patient was staying in that facility in the first place, then it's going to be a discharge. Okay, usually there will be some sort of indication. Okay, if they don't say anything that the patient has been there for 2 years or 3 years, then it is a transfer or referral letter. But if the patient has been there for some time, then it's a discharge letter. Okay, but the good news is, I think in the past year, Cambridge Box Hill has tried to standardize these case notes. Okay, for instance, one of the things that they did was, instead of using what A&E, accidents and emergencies, they standardized it to ED, emergency department. Dati kasi, in the past they were using ED, A&E, ER. Okay, so now they're only using one, the most common one. So for this one, okay, there are usually some clues. Okay, you take a look at the patient background, and most of the modern case notes, they will actually say if it's a transfer, referral, or discharge. Okay, nice, good questions. I like these. Keep those questions coming. Next, tip number 4: make it realistic. Okay, I know that you've seen a lot of teachers and a lot of webinars, and they give all sorts of, language chunks for you to use, high-level terms, sinasabing level A vocabulary, may mga ganyan eh. However, can you please focus on, treating it as a real letter? Okay, because sometimes it's not, if you want a good output, make it as real as possible. Okay, doon nga sa format. That's why in the format, we still write the addressee, we write the date, okay, and then we need the salutation, we need the complimentary close. So please, don't think that you're just doing this because you're taking a test. Okay, really use your imagination. Sabi nga nila, di ba, they always say that you should be patient-centered, and that's true. Okay, you really want to be patient-centered. Okay, write a real letter. Really show your care for the patient. I promise you, even though your English might not be that good, okay, but the letter will be really nice when it comes to language, kasi real is better. Okay, because I've seen a lot of unnaturally written OET letters. Okay, next. I will show you more samples of this later, because I'm gonna type one for you, okay, on the spot. I'm challenging myself again. I could have prepared one, but no, gusto ko on the spot. Okay, next. Put communication ahead of vocabulary. All right. In most exams, not only for the OET, but also for other tests, okay, like pinakasikat yung Ielts, students are taught to paraphrase, right? Instead of writing big, you can say large, huge, gigantic, enormous, expansive. Yeah, ganyan. Instead of writing what the abbreviation like for like CS, Okay, so mo, cesarean section, mga ganon, di ba? Yeah, it's nice to be able to show off your vocabulary, but remember, you're doing this for a reason. What's that reason? To communicate. Okay, that's it. That's why all of these exams were created. Okay, it's for communication. Will you be able to speak with and write to and understand these people who are speaking another language? Okay, because sometimes the sentences produced by candidates, they're so difficult to follow. They're so difficult to understand because they over paraphrase. Okay, I've realized in over 16 years of teaching, a lot of candidates will paraphrase the word, but they will not look at the sentence. Guys, words are used in context. What does that mean? Words are not used alone. They're, kumbaga may barkada sila. They have a family and this forms the sentence, di ba? Just because you use a difficult term doesn't mean you will get a high score because the examiner will take a look at how you used it in the sentence. Is it appropriate? Okay, is it understandable? Will another person who hasn't seen the case notes understand what you're trying to communicate? So focus on communication. Again, then when you finish your letter, yeah, maybe you can find better alternatives. But if you just communicate your message clearly, you'll probably pass the exam already. Okay, so please, itatak nyo sa isip nyo. Okay, bear it in mind. The goal is to communicate. Okay, even if you use simpler words, okay, yeah, it doesn't mean you're gonna get a low score. Just because you use simpler words, sometimes you will actually get higher scores because they grade vocabulary within the sentence, not by itself. Okay, so that's something to really, really remember. Okay, and finally, ito na, we're gonna write. So, Robbie, paano yan? Yung Alison Cooper yung pinrepare ko. Okay, so anyway, follow a good algorithm. What is an algorithm? It's a series of steps that are used, okay, in a certain situation. I think you've been hearing all about these. You have Facebook's algorithm, Google's algorithm. This is the code, okay? Good news, you don't need to know coding to follow a good algorithm. I'm gonna teach you one very nice system that we've been using for quite a long time now. Yung ginagamit namin. Just to be clear, I'm not claiming that our system is 100% original because we actually put together different bits and pieces from different places and different mentors. Okay, so it's just a result of years of teaching, 16 years, a result of our training. Okay, and then we look for the best things and put them together. So this is what I suggest, but if you have something better, then you can also do that. However, if you don't have anything yet, then maybe this will be the way, this will be the algorithm for you. Okay. Also with the letter that I'm gonna write, I'm not claiming that it's perfect and it's the only way to write it. It's just one way. But of course, if you have a system, then everything will go more smoothly. Okay, because you don't need to master all the ways that you can write a certain letter. You just need to produce one good output. Right? So what is this algorithm? Okay, let me share my screen again and the case notes. Let's apply my algorithm to this paper. Step number 1. Okay, sulat niyo sa notebook niyo. Write this down in your notebook. Here's the algorithm. Step 1. Ready? Skip the front page and go directly to the last page, specifically to the writing task. So step number 1, go straight to the writing task. Okay? So why did I ask you to do that? Let me just share my screen. Share screen too. There. Okay. So magsusulat na tayo. I'm gonna write now. You can write along with me, by the way, if you want to be more active. You don't need to just listen to me. If you want, you can also write. Pwede rin. Problema. Okay, so the first step, step number one, is go directly to the back page. Okay, and look for the writing task. Here's the writing task. You are a charge nurse at the hospital where Mrs. Goldstein was admitted 3 days ago for treatment of a dislocated elbow. Okay, instead of writing all of that information, okay, the hobbies, interests, medical history, admission, diagnosis, discharge date. Okay, you need to know what's happening first, and it's contained in the writing task. Okay. Here's a question. What part in the letter do they start the word counting? Just count the body of the letter. Yung mismong letter lang. So they usually don't count the addressee, the salutation, dear sir or madam, and then the re. Okay, they started from the body from the intro, body, and concluding paragraphs, and they don't count your sincerely charged nurse. That's not counted. Okay? Yan, baka mapasobra kayo eh. So they don't count everything, just the letter itself. Yan. So we know now what happened. Mrs. Goldstein, 3 days ago, dislocated elbow. Using the information in the case notes, write a discharge letter. Ayun, it's clearly stated here. To the supervisor at Eventide Residential Aged Care, and the full address was given. Okay, good news. This is the first element of the letter. Okay, if you're taking the computerized version of the test, copy paste nyo na lang. Ayan, like what I did here. Maybe let's enlarge this a bit. It's it's a bit too small. There, guys. If it's not readable, please tell me, so I can make some adjustments. All right. So, supervisor at, okay, Eventide. Let's remove the spacing. Space, move space. Yes. At Eventide, you remove at. Okay, remove that one. So name of the facility, Eventide Residential Aged Care, and then the address, next line, 333 Glen Ear Road, Riponli, Victoria. If you want to put the state there, the next line pwede rin po. Okay, or you can just put it on one line. Okay, it's up to you. Don't forget your commas, by the way. Okay, importante po yung mga comma. So this is it. That's the first element. Then we found it at the back of the page. Doon sa writing task. Just copy it. And please don't make a mistake in copying. What else would I add here? I'd probably add the supervisor. Okay, because if you just say supervisor, then it's not very clear who you're referring to. Okay, we're referring to a specific supervisor, the supervisor of Eventide. So kailangan you use the specific article, the. And please never say a supervisor. Of course, that's gonna be wrong. Okay, readable naman. Thank you very much. If it's not readable, please tell me. Yeah. So that's step number one. No? Take a look at the back page. Look for the writing task. Next, after doing this, step two, okay, would be go back to the first page, get your pencil, and start removing stuff. Okay, for the latecomers, I mentioned earlier that if you include everything on the case notes, you will find it more difficult to pass the test. Bakit? One of the things that they look for is selection of important details. Okay, so get your pencil or your ballpen and don't hesitate. Cross out information. Tanggalin nyo. Cross them out. Okay? So as I say natin, you have to use your critical thinking to determine which information is important or not. Okay, who are we writing to? The supervisor of the residential aged care. Do they know each other? Magkakilala ba sila? Ma'am Tolentino, don't write on my screen. I'm gonna clear your drawing. Okay. So, do they know each other? Think about it. Okay, let's see. Let's read the case notes. Sabi niya, name, Maggie Goldstein, is a 60-year-old female Alzheimer's disease sufferer, currently admitted to North Coalfield Private Hospital. Oh, that's the ending already. Nasa closing na yan. North Coalfield Private Hospital. You know what? I'm gonna write the ending na. Yours sincerely. Okay, this is easy to do if you're taking the computerized version of the test, of course. Yours sincerely. Ano ta? North Coalfield. North Coalfield Private Hospital. Private Hospital. Yeah, may nakahanda na agad. Okay, anyway. Uh, uh, North Coalfield Private Hospital for a dislocated elbow after a fall. Oh, that's too bad at her aged care home. So basically, hindi kinaya. That's why they sent this patient to your hospital. Okay, the name? Margaret Goldstein. Do we include that in the letter? Yes, of course. Very important. Okay, 61 years old. Yes, you can include that. Okay, of course, you need to mention, although it's not very critical in my opinion. Okay, how about the marital status? Uh, Not important. What's the connection of marital status to the dislocated elbow? Not much. And they probably know this already. Okay, husband. Okay, Solomon Goldstein, age 65, no children. I wouldn't even include that one. Okay, admission date, important. Discharge date, important. And of course, diagnosis, always important. Social background. She is under full-time care at Eventide Residential Aged Care. So she's been staying there, okay, for some time now. It didn't say if it's 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, but she's under full-time care already. That's why I removed the previous information, married, husband, because they already know. Okay. So you know what? You don't even need to include this in your letter. Just cross it out. Husband lives nearby in Elwood. They already know that. Okay. Business owner, manager, computers are us. Okay, doesn't have a bearing on the elbow because they're retired. Okay, they're former business owner, former manager, so don't include. Okay, how about the career and the hobbies? Are these important? If she's still active, because you need your arms and your elbows for golf, but again, they probably don't play anymore because it's previous career and hobbies. Let's remove that. Okay. Medical history, height and weight. They already know her height and weight. They already know she has hypertension. No need to emphasize that one. Her Alzheimer's was detected about 2 years ago, November 2014. So they already know this, of course. Okay, and no known Alzheimer's sufferers in close family. Because what's the main reason why she was admitted? It's not because of Alzheimer's, it's because of the elbow. So that's what you focus on in this letter. Okay, you don't need to address each and every illness that the patient has, only what's related to the case that you handled. So I think you should be happy that I said that because it made your job a little bit easier. Okay. Do we need to talk about her current condition? Yeah, of course. She's ready for discharge. Back into full-time care. Her right elbow is in a cuff with sling, healing slowly, and the skin is intact. And then we continue doing this until the next page. That's step 2. Okay? Choose the information that you will include. So let nyo sa notebook nyo, write it down. Okay? Select information, and then cross out that info that you don't need. Of course, you do this for both pages. Take a screenshot or a picture if you want. I don't mind, go ahead. Now, before proceeding to the next page, okay, because I don't want to ruin these notes that I've made. See, if I move to the next page, mawawala yan. Okay, let's go to step 3. Okay, after doing this, crossing out the information and selecting, step number 3 in our algorithm is to is to ready your vocabulary. Prepare your vocab. Ano ito mga to? Synonyms. Paraphrasing. Okay? Prepare your vocabulary. Okay? So let's see what we can paraphrase here. Admission date. 8 November 2016. Is there any other way to say this? 8 November 2016. Some people might say November 8th. Some people might say 11/8/2016. Okay, but I say, okay, one nice way to change this is just say the 8th. That's it. Because if you say the 8th, they will, and you don't mention the month or the year, they will assume that it's November, it's the same month, and it's the same year. So no need to write down everything. Remember, medical professionals like yourselves, you're very busy persons. And you don't have time to spare. Okay, time is gold. So if you can be, as concise as possible, please do so. You can do this because they're not very concerned about the word count. 180 to 200, that's just a suggestion. Even if you just write 160, 165, 170, as long as the output is good, then you will still get a very nice score. You can even get a perfect score. Okay, and it's more natural to say this the 8th. Okay, how about November 12th? That's the date, current date, so you probably don't need to paraphrase that. How, how about dislocated? Do you have any idea how to paraphrase this? Any words we can use instead of dislocated? Just type it in the chat box or in the comments. Some are saying misalignment or fracture. Do you think fracture and misalignment is the same as dislocated? Pwede siguro, no? Kasi, when it pops out of the socket, hindi na siya aligned properly. Okay? However, I don't know if I can say that kasi, again, I'm not a doctor. Okay? But I have something very simple that you can use. Instead of dislocated, deformed, when you say deformed, the form is not proper. Okay, but deformation kasi can be many things. A laceration is a deformation. Okay, a swelling. Okay, that's also a deformation. A change in coloration, that's also deformation. So it's too general. Okay, this is what I'm saying. Sometimes we focus so much on paraphrasing that we forget, to be natural. We forget to be communicative. But I appreciate Joy and Macomb. I don't know if I pronounced your name properly. Thank you for the suggestions. I really appreciate it. Instead of talking on my own. Here's an easy trick. Okay, dislocated is it's an adjective, right? You can turn it into a noun. It means just use the same root word and then change the end of the word. Okay, instead of saying dislocated, you can turn it to dislocation. There you go. And that's already a paraphrase because it's not the same word, dislocated, dislocation. Okay, very good. Thank you, Joy. Very nice. Okay, and then early dementia, progressing rapidly. I forgot to cross this out. I would cross it out. Yeah, remove that because that's not the primary complaint or the chief complaint. Okay, let's move on to the bottom. Ready for discharge back into full-time care. Back, discharge back. How can we say that? From Kate, sustained. Yes, ano po yun? Somebody wants to speak. Okay, you unmuted yourself. I'm gonna mute you. There you go. Oh, for those in the Zoom room, if it's easier for you to just participate with your voice, to speak rather than type, go ahead po. I don't mind. You can turn on your mics as long as it's on purpose, not accidentally. Okay? So, ready for discharge. Siguro you can use the word return. Okay, kasi babalik discharge back into full-time care. Okay, right elbow in cuff with sling. Does anybody know of another word? Okay, another word for cuff with sling. It's not the same as a cast, right? Kasi yung cast matigas yata yun. It's solid, right? It's faster. Okay, but cuff with sling, I think this is just made of fabric. Tama ba? Personally, I really don't know any other word for it. So if you don't, well, you don't need to change everything. Siguro, can we call it an arm sling? Pwede ba siya? Instead of just sling, arm sling. Mhm. All right, I'll wait for your answers. Yes, pwede raw. All right. Okay, so yeah, arm sling. Next, skin intact. What does that mean, skin intact? So there are no breaks, there's no puncture, there's no wound, there are no sores. Okay, skin intact. Maybe you can say, yeah, good skin integrity. Okay, it remained, it's complete. Okay. So yeah, so many ways to paraphrase that one. Okay, arm sling. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. All right. I'm gonna move on to the next page now. So I hope you took a picture or a screenshot. I'm gonna erase it. Okay. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clear. Next page. Para ako nag-defibrillator to na. So here's the back page. Here's the back page. Let's choose. Let's go back to step 2. Let's select information. All right. Uses wheelchair. Transfers with some assist. Yeah, that's worth mentioning. Continent of bowel and continent of bladder. Worth mentioning. Yeah, basically everything. We're going to mention all of it. Okay. Next. Medications. Oxycodone, Atacand, Remeron. Well, nothing wrong with mentioning them. If you want to mention them, go ahead. All right. You don't need to be very detailed because she was probably taking Atacand and Remeron before she went to to your facility, to North Goldfield. I think the only new medication here would be oxycodone for the pain management, for pain relief. Okay, so I'd say this is optional. Okay, maybe if you need to inflate your word count, include nyo na. Okay, but if you already have a long letter, then you can just skip it. Or maybe just mention the oxycodone. Okay, marami naman choices. No, there's no single way to write this. There are options. Okay, I'm just here to give you options. Management and progress. She's medically stable. Yes, that's why they said that she's ready for discharge. So mention that one. Discharge plan. Mali pa to. Dapat discharge lang. Di discharged. Okay, discharge plan. Spouse, that's Solomon, will collect patient when discharged to transport back to Eventide. Please monitor the healing of the elbow. Monitor incontinence care. And there's a follow-up with the physiotherapist on the 28th, 2 p.m. at Eventide. So basically, guys, if there's something you need to include, it's gonna be the discharge plan. And be careful what you include in your requests because sometimes people get confused because of the sheer amount of information and they put things that they're not supposed to put there. For instance, there's no request for the medication, right? For the monitoring of the medication. So it means you don't even need to include that. You only include what they say, what they tell you to include in the discharge plan. Right? So, paraphrase tayo. Uses wheelchair. I don't know of any other name for wheelchair. I'm probably gonna say wheelchair. Okay. Transfers with some assist. Okay. Again, transfer, I'm probably gonna use that, but assist can be easily paraphrased with some help. with some assistance. I'm gonna go a bit faster, right, guys, because I didn't realize it's already 10:19, so I have like 35 minutes. Okay, help assistance instead of just assist. Pwede naman po. Continent of bowel, incontinent of bladder. Usually when a person is, is normal, hindi naman sinasabi, di ba? You don't actually include it. So you don't even need to mention this because this is normal. Okay? Optional na siya. But you do need to mention incontinent of bladder. So other ways to say this. Okay? So instead of saying incontinent of bladder, maybe you can say, you can use the word urinary, right? Urinary. Okay. Also, reluctant to wear disposable briefs. Disposable briefs, adult diapers. Reluctant. She refuses. Okay, or maybe you can say she's not confident. Okay, not amenable. Okay, is apprehensive about it. Okay. Ang dami. So many words you can use for this one. Requires assist, again, help or assistance with showers and incontinent care. Showers with bathing. Okay. Next, oxycodone. Again, you just need to, you don't really need to mention them, all of them. Maybe just the most important one. Okay. Or you can totally skip them if you want. Many options. Next. Medically, ano to? Medical? I think this is wrong, no? Oh, thank you. Hesitant instead of reluctant. Pwede rin po. That's a nice word. I'm gonna use that, Ma'am Glitz. Okay, I think that's a very good word. So, medically stable. You can just say stable because when you paraphrase, it doesn't mean that you change everything. Sometimes you can add or remove words, okay, from phrases, and that's already considered a paraphrase. Next, spouse will collect patient. So what kind of spouse? Husband or wife? Well, Solomon. So that's the husband, okay, will collect the patient when discharged back to transport back to Eventide. You can use the words bring, assist, return, dami. Okay. Please monitor the healing progress of the elbow, of the injury, monitor for incontinence. Or instead of monitoring, you can say monitor. Okay. Hemodynamics, blood. Okay. There's a follow-up with the physio. Yeah, I agree. Follow-up with the physiotherapist. Okay, the appointment is on the 28th. So instead of writing the whole thing, November 28, 2016, you can just write on the 28th para mas mabilis. And I think a very useful word here would be visit. Okay, just to make things a little bit lighter. The physiotherapist will pay a visit on the 28th at 2 p.m. there at Eventide for a follow-up, for a checkup. Okay. Ayan na, that's it. Basically, all you need to do now is put together the letter. Okay, so let's start writing. Please take a screenshot if you want. I need to erase these. Right, you done? Yes, okay, let's erase. Clear all the drawings. Now, let me give you some patterns now. You already know the first line, the first element here, and the final element there. Okay. By the way, hindi pa kompleto yung final element, no? I think that you watch a lot of webinars or tutorials where they tell you just to write charge nurse, right? Okay, yeah. If you watch the yung sa ano din sa mismo OET. However, this isn't the only way to write it. You know, personally, what I do, I write my whole name. And just use your real name. Okay, don't worry about it. Nobody will copy it. Okay, I put my real name. I put my position. It's usually charge nurse, and I even if they provided the name of the institution, I also put it there. And you know what? If they give the address of the hospital, I'd even put it here. San Fernando, San Fernando, Pampanga. Dolores, San Fernando, Pampanga. All right. So this is probably in Caulfield. Instead of just writing charge nurse, again, I told you, it's actually nice if the letter is more realistic. Okay. And this might actually add, to your what? This might be to your advantage because like 90% of the other candidates will just write charge nurse. So what sets apart your letter? Diba? So I love doing it this way. It's quite nice. Okay, and I have a lot of students who've done it this way. I remember last year from October, November, and December, the last 3 months of the year, we had a perfect pass rate for OET. I am not saying it's because it's because of us lang po, but maybe those students were very diligent. Maybe because they attended their classes. Of course, we also have students who fail, but these are mostly the people who don't come to class because of their busy schedule, sudden shifts, okay, or the other nurse was absent, so they had to cover. That's called life, okay, and it happens. Nangyari talaga yan. Okay, so let's continue po. I advise my students to end it this way. It just feels more natural, and it gives uh, a bigger, stronger body to your letter. Okay, so after writing the addressee, supervisor, facility address, you can write the date. Ano ba yung date? 12, right? 12 November. 12 November. Okay, November 2016. And then you can write your salutation. Dear. Oops. Dear. Now, the most common way to write this would be to say, Dear Sir. Napaka-sexy. Una lagi yung sir. Dear Sir or Madam. Right? But you know what? If you know the title of the person, why don't you use their titles? Okay? Because it's music to one's ears, di ba? O, kung doktor yan, if it's a doctor, why don't you write, Dear Doctor? That's nice. This person earned that title, so use it. If you're writing to a nurse, why don't you write, Dear Nurse? Okay? However, are we writing to a nurse or a doctor? I don't know because it just says supervisor. So it's possible that it might be a medical professional. It's also possible that it's a layman. Just someone with management expertise, not really medical expertise. So safe yung dear sir or madam, but I would probably write dear supervisor. That's another way to write it. You have options. Would you like me to use both? Sige, I'm gonna write both. Pili na lang po kayo. You choose which one you like better. Dear madam or sir. There you go. Okay. And then the traditional, they always put this, okay, Ray. Okay. Mrs. Margaret Goldstein, Goldstein, whatever. Okay. And then if they give you the birthday, it's the best practice is to write the birthday, date of birth. However, for this one, do we have information? Wala eh. Ang sabi lang, she's 61 years old. Pero dito, it says she's 60. Okay, so I'm just gonna follow the case note, 61. So I have no date of birth, just the age, 61 years old. Yeah, that's basically all you need to write. Some people prefer to include married, widow, widower, businessman or something. If they're not medically important, you can skip them and focus on the more important stuff in the body paragraph. Okay. By the way, these two, the there and the re, they're interchangeable. Okay, it doesn't matter which one goes first, as long as it's there, then it's fine. Okay, and then how many body paragraphs do you write? We usually write, 4 or 5. Okay, usually if it's a discharge letter, it's just 4. If it's a transfer letter or a referral letter, usually comes down to 5. So it depends, no? I think 4 lang siya for this one. So what's the first one? The first paragraph is, of course, your intro. Okay, that's your introduction. Okay, it's just a summary of what's happened. You give them an overall idea. How do you know that your intro is effective? Okay, if it contains all the important information. Okay, if the doctor or the nurse or the supervisor can take a look at that one paragraph and know what to do already, okay, then it's a very good introduction. Okay, please remember this should be short. Okay, it can be usually the second shortest. Shortest is the conclusion, of course, but the intro is also quite short. Okay, you give them an update of what's happening, get them up to date, right? And then paragraph 2, all the medical related facts. Okay, and then sometimes you can include, the social background, or sometimes it's a secondary complaint if it's related. Okay, but most of the time we just remove this one, especially for discharge letters. Paragraph 4, all of your requests and all of your discharge plans. Okay, and paragraph 5, a very short closing, or you can call it a conclusion if you want. All right, so the third element, that's usually optional. You don't need to write it all the time, right? So let me start line by line. So first, the introduction. So, oops. Okay, first the introduction. You don't need to greet. You don't need to say hi, hello, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Why? Because this is not a personal letter, and you don't even know the person that you're writing to. However, please remember, your test was created. This test was created in Australia, and Australians are some of the most polite people you will meet. I know because I've worked with several Australians already. Okay, napaka-polite po nila. So, a simple way to start would be to say good day. Why? Because this is how most Australians say it. Even in their email, I received emails from Australians, they start like this, good day. However, this is a formal letter. So you can't use a shortcut abbreviation like this. So I can say good day if you want. Okay, or you can totally skip it. What's your style? It's up to you. My style, I put good day because I want the word count. 2 words na yan. Good day. Don't use the exclamation point. Okay. A quick note: if the situation is an emergency, someone's having a heart attack, or the appendix burst, or there was an electric shock, ganyan, then skip these pleasantries. Skip the good day. Okay, why? Because what's important is to get treatment right away. But this one, she's just being discharged. She's doing well. That's why I took the time to greet. Okay, so good day. And then for most letters online, you will see, I am writing to discharge, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? They want you to be patient-centered. So instead of mentioning yourself and putting more emphasis on yourself, why don't you put the emphasis on the patient? Okay, so good day. Do I say Mrs. Margaret Goldstein? Hindi na siguro. Mrs. Goldstein is enough. Okay, so I can say, or you can even say the patient. You can say Margaret or Maggie. Okay, try to use some variation po. So, Mrs. Goldstein, okay, so update mo. Kumusta na? Successful, di ba? Successfully treated for her dislocation. Do you need to say right elbow? Not really, because first of all, they already know it. Okay? Secondly, you can just mention that in the body if you want. So this is just a summary. Okay, so don't worry too much about giving a lot of details for her. Dislocation or dislocated elbow, and is now ready for discharge. Please make sure, okay, that that somewhere in your introduction you mentioned transfer, referral, okay, discharge, being discharged, okay, just to make things clear. All right, so today, let's go see was successfully treated for dislocation is now ready for discharge. If you want to make it a bit longer, okay, treated in our facility. Okay, just to show off that word facility, nice. Institution, medical facility, medical institution, physicians, surgeons, medical professional. These are all words that you can easily use in any Oet letter. Gamitin nyo, sayang. Okay. For her dislocation, comma, and she is now ready for discharge. That's it, basically. Okay. Now, some people, they decide to include a second sentence, just to be more complete. Pwede, you include a summary of your request, but again, don't make it too long. Okay. She needs, okay, further monitoring and assistance. This is pretty typical. Okay. During this period of recovery, or you can say her period of recovery, pwede rin po. Okay, a very typical introduction. Next paragraph, you focus on the medical facts. So what happened in the hospital? Okay, but if it's a discharge letter, you don't need to be very, very detailed. Why? Magaling na siya. Okay, you have to be more detailed if you're transferring her to another facility. You really need to tell the doctor the treatments you've given so far. But for a discharge letter, you don't need to mention the BP, that she had a fever. If they're already fixed, if they already recovered, wag na. Okay, so what happened? Maybe you can give some of the dates. So the patient was admitted on the 8th? Yeah, on the 8th. You don't need to say 8 November 2016, just the 8th. That's fine enough. Okay. The patient was admitted on the 8th after injuring herself from a fall in your facility or in your institution. Institution, facility. I think facility is better here. Okay. And then what happened? Full-time care, okay naman. What? Medical history, not important. Her right elbow is now, okay, good. Her right arm is now, okay, sorry, her injury. Oh, I already used injuring pala. No? Okay, her right now arm is now supported by a cuff. You told me pwedeng arm sling, di ba? Okay, I'm gonna use that. It's now supported by a cuff and an arm sling to help stabilize the joint. Okay, because she was dislocated. And then what? Okay, the doctor, the physician, instead of starting all of my sentences with she, her, Ms. Goldstein, para lang maiba, you want variation in your sentences, okay? The doctor, the physician, can you give me suggestions instead of gave? What would be a more medical term? Hindi naman issued, no? You issue agad, military yun. Press, yes. Press. Prescribed. Okay. Prescribe oxycodone. Or for pain relief. Okay. Tapos, ano, and she is healing, albeit, ibig sabihin ng albeit bit, okay? Albeit a little slowly. Tapos ano pa? The skin is intact, okay? You will be pleased. Oh, that she did not sustain any damage to the surrounding skin. Alright, I think that's it. Meron pa ba? Uses wheelchair, transfers with some assist. But this was in the, oh, this is the current. Okay, so we include this one. So current condition. Okay. So Margaret, okay, has to use a wheelchair. He has to use a wheelchair currently. Needs assistance to mobilize and to transfer. What else? Continent of bowel and continent of bladder. Okay. Due to poor bladder control, we advised her to wear adult diapers, but she was, anong sinuggest ni Ma'am Glads kanina? Hesitant. Okay. She was hesitant to use them. Do I need to give the date? Not really. Okay, it's already here. It doesn't matter when it happened, but it happened during the stay in the hospital. Okay, let's continue. Requires assistance with showers and incontinent care. Okay, incontinence is already here. Okay, assistance, we mentioned she needs assistance for the wheelchair and to mobilize. Okay, maybe we can just summarize all of this. Okay, needs assistance to mobilize and to transfer to the bathroom. Ayan na, kasama dyan yung ligo, tsaka yung ihi, you know, number 1, number 2, and taking baths. So that's summarized already. Okay, I think that's enough. And then do we need to mention the social background? So secondary complaints? Not really. So I'm gonna skip that and go directly to our requests and the discharge plan. Okay. Before proceeding to the next paragraph, I would advise you to count already so that you know how detailed you need to be. The introduction, this one. Okay, how many words? This is 31 words. I would also advise you to write this on a separate piece of paper. Or if you write this on your answer sheet, please remove it before submitting your output. Okay. And this is 102. 31 and 102 for a total of 133. So how many more do we need? Konti na lang, mga 50, 60, or 70 words, di ba? Okay, kayang-kaya. It can be shorter than this. Remember, we still have 2 paragraphs left. So just do it quickly now. So what's our request? Spouse will collect the patient when discharged back to Untitled. Okay. The husband, or Mr. Goldstein or Solomon, the husband. So, okay, will return her to your facility today. Okay. Tapos, monitoring. Okay. Please continue. Instead of monitoring, you can say monitor. To monitor the injury, to monitor the injury, and assist with the letter issue. Okay, oh, yun lang actually. It didn't say monitor the medicine. It didn't say help with the bath or with the toilet. Okay, so don't write too much. Just focus. What's written on the discharge plan? Yun lang po yung susulat nyo. Don't overdo it. Okay, with the bladder issue. And then please take note. Please take note that she will be visited. She will be visited by a PT. Can you use PT? Actually, if it's a well-known abbreviation, pwede. Okay, you can also write the whole thing if you want, but if you're in a hurry, you can actually say PT, C-section, pwede mga yan eh. Okay, BP instead of blood pressure, those are acceptable. Okay, by official therapist, okay, on the 28th at 2 p.m. Do you need to say there at eventide? Well, she will be visited. Okay, oh, maybe you can just say there, pwede na yan. Okay, but you don't need to say eventide anymore. That's redundant already. You've said it how many times? Okay. Okay, for a checkup. For a checkup. All right. Did I forget anything? Please, if you notice anything that I forgot or you think I need to include, tell me and we'll consider it. All right. So word count, this is 42. So we need like just 20 more words. So tapos na basically. If you count like this, then you will not need to count your last paragraph. Bakit? You'll be able to estimate it quite easily. And you know, the last paragraph is actually just a memorized phrase. Okay. If you have any queries or clarifications, I love using these two words because they're high-level terms. It's my last chance to impress my examiner. Okay. So I use these queries or clarifications. Okay. Please call. Just invent a number. And then I always put an extension number if it's a big facility. Okay. Extension 143. Yeah, but I love you. Please call blah 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 blah. Extension 143. And usually this is how most people end it. Okay, but you know what? I like it personalized and I like to be polite. So I always put, you know, at least a thank you. Thank you man lang. If you're in a hurry, you can say thank you. But if you have more time, you can write a longer sentence. Thank you for taking time to read this letter. That's one way to end it. You can also end it like this. We wish Maggie a quick recovery. Or instead of quick, maybe you can say, we wish Maggie a good recovery. You can choose one of them, or you can write both. If you're, if you want to increase your word count, you write everything here. But yeah, they're not really required. Pampa-boost lang. All right. So if you want to take a picture, okay, please, yan po. Take a screenshot, take a picture. Oh, wait. Wala, we need to include that one. There you go. Again, Okay, I'm not claiming this is the only way to write it, nor it is the best. Definitely, but definitely this will be at least a B. Probably higher, pero let's just say at least a B. So sure ball yan. Okay. Can you write it in a different way? Maybe you can, but you have to be organized, all right? Okay. Each paragraph needs to have a central theme or central idea, kumbaga. Okay, done. Done copying. Please ask your final questions because we're about to finish. I have like 6 minutes left. While you're typing your questions, kung okay lang po, can I promote a little bit? So, promote ng konti. Okay, go. Okay. So again, I'm gonna flash the best practices for those people who entered late. Mhm. Okay, I'm from World English, so I will promote the company. So why choose our review center? Because a self-review isn't enough, especially if you're trying to get to the higher levels. Maybe it's enough to get to a C plus, YouTube, no, self-study C, okay. But if you want B or higher, then you need someone to guide you. Just like at work, ganun din naman, di ba? In your workplace, you need experts to guide you. Okay, we're all learners. Next, you have access to teachers. Okay, not just group lectures po, one-on-one access to our teachers. That's for OET, that's me and Sir Robbie. Okay, we are a small company, but we are highly trusted. You can ask ACE Testing Hub about us. You can ask British Council and IDP about us and ask them about our reputation. Maliit lang kami, but we value our reputation. Okay. We don't employ a factory approach. For us, the most important is the one-on-one tutorial. The group lectures are just a bonus. We will provide you with regular guidance, and we are flexible. We usually survey our students. For our group lectures and one-on-one, we actually ask you for your most comfortable time, and then we set it. We follow your time slot instead of you following us. We're quite flexible. Yeah, because we're small. We're willing to do more things for you. Kasi po maliit lang kami. Okay? We don't offer any dubious, we don't give you anything dubious like leakage, Maya, or the secret to success, or a special secret final coaching. No, it's just good study. Okay? Experience plus methods. Yun lang po yung ino-offer namin. And guidance. Why choose us? We are well recognized in the industry despite being small. Okay, in fact, we were number 1, okay, for Central Luzon for 2021. And nationally po, number 3 kami. But this is of course for Ielts. OET doesn't have these kinds of recognitions yet. Pag meron nag-claim na number 1 sila sa OET, saan nila kinuha yan? There's no recognizing body yet. Okay, ingat kayo sa mga ganyan. Good news, tomorrow we will have a free IELTS class in the morning, okay, 9:30 to 12 noon. Good news, we have a special guest from the British Council. So instead of just us teachers telling you this is IELTS, you can get it directly from the horse's mouth. You can scan the QR. Can someone put the link? Pakilagay yung link, ayan. There you go. For IELTS also. Okay, and then for OET, it's from 6:30 to 9 in the evening. And we have a guest from ACE Testing Hub. Sila po yung nagko-conduct ng OET sa Philippines. So again, hindi lang kami yan. Straight from the horse's mouth. So attend, ask them all the questions that you like. Okay, sila mismo yung nagpapa-exam. So ayan po. I think the link is in the chat box. Oh, thank you. Thank you, IFNG, Ma'am Glads. They will also post the links to the Facebook page. So bukas na po ito. So register na kayo. So thank you very much. Okay. And when you enroll in our intensive review programs, just mention the discount. Alam na yan ni Ma'am Cha. Alam na yan ni Ma'am Say. Okay, sabihin nyo, you attended the IFNG free class and I offer the discount. Alam na nila. This is our official OET page, OET Review Philippines. This is our main page, okay? World English Reviews. By the way, if you just want to register for the test, ayaw nyo mag-enroll, just, you need help sa registration, you can also contact us. We will gladly help you out and we will not hard sell you. We will not force you to enroll. Okay? We don't do that. Other review centers do. Kami hindi. Don't worry, walang pilitan. Thank you for supporting our free OET class for today. Any final questions? Wala na, okay? Oh, thank you very much. Sana po marami kayong natutunan and we still have more to teach you. We just scratched the surface. Okay, this is just a little of what we can offer you. All right, so see you tomorrow with the British Council and ACE Testing Up, and good evening. Have a good sleep.
Thank you, Sir Lee. Thank you, our English. Bye po. Good night. See you tomorrow to your free lecture. Posted na po. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you po. Bye-bye.